welcome back to part 2 of chapter 32 from the book God Consciousness, written directly by God. Hi everybody, my name's Robert Farmilo. I'm the narrator for the God Consciousness Project, and you'll notice on your screen a box has appeared, and you can click on that box and it will take you to the God Consciousness Project website, and you can get the book God Consciousness for free from the website. And if you want to, you can also buy the book from that website, and there's a lot of really cool and interesting and useful stuff on the website that you can use for absolutely free. Okay, no further ado, let's get going. Here's part 2. When I come to you, when I come knocking on the door of your mental awareness, when I come into your mind in the form of a repeating thought word, this is the time to pause and let me be with you. Many of you might think that you are going crazy. Believe me, this is quite a normal reaction to such a strange occurrence. But you are not going crazy unless the accompanying thoughts are self-destructive, either to you or to other selves, for example, members of your family, friends, or co-workers. Even then, it is important to distinguish the difference between thoughts that are not coming from me and this me thought that is coming from me. These two thought constructs can go on at the same time. Why is this? It is because parts of you are in objection to this union of me and you and me. They may be parts of you that you know very little or nothing about. These parts of you may be entirely unaware of on a conscious level of cognition. Furthermore, these parts of you that are in objection to union with me may even originate with a self that is not you at all, but comes from outside of you as you understand you to be. The main point here is that you understand that you can have awareness of me and also have other seemingly conflicting and confusing thoughts and feelings going on at the same time. This is why it is important to focus on the positive aspect of the exchange, not the negative and destructive and doubting and so forth parts of a mixed transmission and cognition of me repeating my presence in the form of a word thought impulse like God, God, God. In death there is life, and in life there is death. Are they one and the same thing, or process, or experience? In this answer to this question, we have a similarity of experience. There is much about the answer that is perplexing because of the very dynamic of your current experience of awareness. You can only hold so much conscious awareness, and most of the rest of it is being experienced in parts of you that you do not actually consciously experience. This is the part that can throw so many of you out with the bathwater, so to speak, or right, because of the inconsistency of the statement. You can logically reject it as a cop-out, as an excuse or explanation that is theological in makeup and not an actual explanation grounded in ultimate truth. It is too easy to skip the rest of the revelations because of the rejection of the idea by your conscious mind. But you cannot get inside this any other way. Even though most of what you experience is not on the level of your conscious mind, what we are doing is expanding your capacity to be in communion with this strange dynamic of expanded awareness. And knowing about how life and death are so intimately combined and inseparable from each other is certainly a part of knowing me as you and you as me, at least on the level of feeling. Life and death, or death and life, has a way of seeming to be separate from each other, just as, for example, being awake and being asleep seem to be so very different from each other. Another example is the difference between being awake and being in the dreaming state when you are asleep. So life and death can seem quite different from each other, and as we discussed earlier in this chapter, for many of you, the idea of awareness continuing after death is an impossibility. Yet, these two states of being, life and death, are very much married together and are for the most part the very same thing, and at the same time quite distinct from each other. I know this is a contradiction, yet it is not really. What happens when you die is a time of great awakening from being alive in your former life. For most of you, there is a huge expansion of awareness, and much that had been stored away in your underconsciousness or subconsciousness is fed back into your death awareness, so you get a lot more perspective on what has happened in your former life state. In a way, and only one way, death should be called life, and life should be called death. In a certain way of looking at things, you are more alive when you are dead than when you are alive in your current physical experience. I do not intend to encourage you to kill yourself in an attempt to go to some new level of awareness. In my opinion, it is better to let me do it for you. And I will, if you let me. In my opinion, it is better to let me help you live your life properly and successfully than to struggle with the deposits of muck made up of the combination of your ego's perception of how things should be, how things should go, and so on and so forth. When it comes to dying in this life, you can make many excellent preparations as you live from day to day, now, in this current life you are living. But remember, I am telling you there is life after death. It is real, and in a strange way, after death is more real than the current life you are living. What I want you to do for me is to live now, in this day, with me. I want you to get me more involved in your plans. I want you to seriously considering directing your will to include me in it. I mean to have my will and your will joining together. There are some people who are quite scared of death. The idea of not existing in their body makes them feel very scared. They do not like the idea of the pain of dying. But the idea of not existing anymore makes them feel very, very strange and uneasy. People fight to stay alive. They will go into a state of out-and-out panic when death comes knocking. It is normal to want to survive. You have a potent instinct for preserving your life. I've created a situation where you do not know for sure what will happen to you once you die. You do not know what will happen to you while you are alive. This is true for most of you. Oh, sure, in this life, sometimes you can have an idea of what the probabilities of this and that will be, but when it comes to death, most of you do not know at all. There are a lot of opinions about what happens when you die, and there are many religious stories about what happens to you once you die. This is one of the reasons why it is so useful and beneficial to you to capture the wavelength of my will for you. Put another way, why it is so fantastic to merge your will with my will. The beauty of this is that if you don't want to follow my guidance, then you don't have to. The one thing about free will is that you never lose it, even when you give it back to me. Okay, well, we're going to stop right there. That's where we're going to end part 2 of chapter 32 of the God Consciousness Project. And you'll notice the boxes come up, and you can click on that box and get taken to the God Consciousness website, and you can get the book for free. Plus, you can also buy the book from the website as well, and there's a lot of really good stuff there that you can get your hands on and use that's free. Okay, this is Robert Farmilo, narrator for the God Consciousness Project, inviting you back to part 3 of chapter 32 from the book written directly by God called God Consciousness. Bye for now.